Hey, hey. Happy Sunday, everybody. What's happening? It's your girl Bella, and I am back. I am back. I needed a break, guys. I love you guys. You know I love you, but every now and then we have to all take a break. Um, and I just want to share a little bit about why I did time. I had a few, and they were like back to back, like 2 weeks apart, literally, a mother and a daughter. And the mother was 92, so she had such a blessed life, right? There is no complaints there. But the daughter needed a double lung transplant. And the blessing in that was that she got it 2 weeks, like 3 weeks, I believe it was, after the mom, and unfortunately did not make it through it. So that was very tough on the family. And, it's those times when we're not going to understand why God does the things that he does. But guess what? It's God. God is our source. He knows what's best. And it's not always easy to handle when these things happen. So we just have to give him the glory, nevertheless. And I was just in a bad place with that. And then when you just life, just being bombarded by things. And so sometimes I just have to back that thing up, and I just have to breathe and get myself together, because if I'm not at my best, I can't bring my best to you guys. And I definitely thrive to bring you my absolute best self. But I am happy to be back. I am just happy to see you guys. Let's see who we got here in the house so far. We got Uncle Jim. What's up, Uncle Jim Myers? Thank you for being here and sharing the show. Shout out to everybody who is joining in still. Hey, Steve, what's up? What's up? Steve Belcher. Who else we got? Oh, shout out to my producer, Jared, behind the scenes, making this work for us. And I just want to say that I wanted you guys to remember a few things. First, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and share. Share this page, share this show. Why? Because sharing is caring. Okay, so don't forget to do that. Also, we are live on YouTube. Not many, everybody is a Facebooker, so bring it to them on YouTube. We got all kind of sources. Urban Health Outreach Media. You can see all the shows on that. What else? I don't want you to be a silent partner in this. I want you to be a full-fledged partner. So I want you to bring forth all your questions, your comments, support me, support our guests too. There is no foolish question, especially if you are someone that's just learning about transplantation and organ donation. So this show is about enlightenment. It's about educating. It's about paying it forward. And so I know that the testimonies that come forth will bless someone's life. So please don't be stingy with sharing. That's right. Smash it, hammer it down. So with this being National Donate Life Month, And for those who don't know, it is National Donate Life Month, the month of April. It was important to me to bring forth a show that is about donation. I wanted to close it out with that. Why? Because that is the greatest display of love ever, in my opinion. And I had a living donor. And there is no great to show your love for somebody other than through the gift of life. So without further ado with that, I want to tell you a little bit about my guests. I got both of them, the donor and of course the recipient. So I'm a recipient. Her name is Kimberly Bennett. She is beautiful and she resides in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She's married with 2 lovely daughters. She's an office manager for a large assisted living facility. I love people that are in that type of work. She serves on the board for the Multicultural Miracle Donation Foundation. And in 2013, she was diagnosed with IgA nephropathy. Okay, that's a pretty deep word. When you don't try to say it fast, you got to practice that. That unfortunately led her into having end-stage renal disease. And she said that when she received the news, she was in complete denial, which is not unusual. I was too. They said there's the 5 stages of denial when you are diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. But she said that immediately she needed to go on dialysis, and they wanted to start that process also to even putting her on the donor list, which actually showed what a grave state she was in renal failure. But because of her being in denial, she opted out of the treatment that was suggested to her and did not want that regimen. And for whatever reason, we're going to talk about that. But she said it was the worst mistake that she ever made in her life. So that led into a downward spiral of her health. And she and Trish, who is her donor, had not actually communicated in quite a while, but they reconnected, and the miracle of Trish's selfless love created this beautiful story, which they are going to share with us right now. Let me just tell you real quick about my girl, Trish Phillips. First of all, I love Trish. Trish and I are both volunteers for LifeLink of Florida. And this girl, I met my match with organization. She helps keep me organized too, reminds me of certain meetings we got. She's just this beautiful soul. And she also resides in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She's currently the general manager of a AM radio station. She holds a degree in broadcasting, and she started a weekly kidney awareness radio show. She volunteers with the Donate Life Foundation, and as I already shared, with LifeLink of Florida and Life Alliance. And Trish has been one of the top fundraisers for the NKFI Walk, and she's current ambassador of Howl the Owl on the Prowl worldwide, which is really cool. I'm going to have her talk about that. So also, she, in December 15th of 2016, yes, Jared, thank you. That's when they had their transplant. And she has formed her own organization since that time, which is the Multicultural Organization. But anyway, I'm going to bring them out, lot to share. Come on and welcome our guests for the day, Trish Phillips and Kimberly Bennett. Woo! Hey, ladies.
Hey.
How are you?
Hello. Good.
Thank you so much for being here. How are you guys?
I'm glad to be here. Great.
Good. I know you guys probably got a lot of people rooting for you all on the show today, especially since this is Kim's first show, everyone. So be
Yes.
gentle
Yay.
with her. But she's going to be great. You look good, Kim. You look really, really good.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Thank you. I
How
feel
are
great.
you feeling? You do?
I feel great.
That's good.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
awesome. That's awesome. So I'm gonna kick this off with you because I shared a few nuggets, in the intro about you and your story, but I really want you to give your perspective and tell us how your journey with kidney disease began.
So my journey began, I'm sure I had the signs prior to, but just didn't know, wasn't aware. So in 2013, I was diagnosed with kidney failure. Like you said, it was IgA nephropathy, and the cause for that disease is unknown. So I was diagnosed. It was devastating news to me. And I was in complete denial that it could not happen to me. And why would it happen to somebody like me? Like I don't drink, so I'm not understanding why I'm having kidney failure, things like that. All the things you're just, trying to think back. What did I do? What could I have done better? What could I have eaten? What could I have not eaten or drink, to not cause this to happen to me? Um, but yeah, I went through the various stages, of testing, just trying to think maybe, it was just this test and, I can have another test and maybe, it's something different. And in the end, it was end stage kidney failure as it was when I was first, diagnosed. But I was just, like I said, I was in complete denial. I refused the treatment. In the beginning, I wanted, instead of, immediately going on dialysis, I asked about maybe some type of medication regimen that I could do, or maybe it was acute, it could be reversed or something like that. But, I tried it for 6 months. Worst mistake of my life. Worst mistake of my life. I just, it was like the beginning of the end, you could sort of say, because it really, I was really, really affected by that because, I didn't seek treatment, in the beginning. So I would tell anybody, if you are diagnosed, please listen to the doctors because they know best, and follow their instructions. So I started, going through the process. I started dialysis. And when I started dialysis, it was kind of rough. It was rough. I hated every day that I had to go to the center. But I was on dialysis for 2 years exact to the day before I had my transplant. And, I started dialysis, and, there was just, I went through the process of getting on the transplant list. And, you go to orientation, you go to these classes, they tell you, everything that's going to happen, during the stage. And when I left there, I was just like, man, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot. But I just, kept going through dialysis, and Trish, thank God for her. We always been close, but she was going through, things in her life, just going through life and having struggles, with what was going on in her life with her parents. So we really didn't, have that time to talk like we used to. But, when we, did connect, we did, share what was going on in her life, share what was going on in my life. And just all of a sudden, she was just like, I'm not related to you, but do you think I could, donate a kidney to you? I was like, wow, are you serious?
And I'm going to put a pin in. Wow. Yeah, that was amazing when I read that in your bio. Kim, I'm going to put a pin in that right there. That was a perfect note for me to come into to talk to Trish for a minute. So, Trish, you have a very busy life, and in my opinion, a very, very rewarding career. You're very active, and like my life once was, as far as my work life. So when Kim shared what was going on with her health with you, and you actually agreed to be a donor, based on just what she said, there was things that you were going on in your life. Was there ever any hesitation or concerns about the risk? I just kind of want you to share a little bit about, because you so quickly said, think I can be a donor, which is so you, knowing you the way I know you now. So I just want you to share your take of that when she shared that news with you.
Well, for me, hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in. But for me, it was actually a no-brainer. Kimberly, she's leaving out the part where she mentioned we were longtime friends, but I don't think she stressed how we were almost like sisters. She's been my ride or die and a great, dear best friend of mine since I moved to Fort Lauderdale, the South Florida area. Most of you know by now I'm from the Panhandle, a small 2 traffic light town called Port St. Joe. So at the time when Kimberly was going through her treatment, it was a difficult time for me. Both of my parents were in and out with their health, and eventually went on to be in heaven. And it all happened so fast because they actually departed 82 days apart.
Wow.
So by the time Kimberly and I connected and everything was situated back home, I said, we're not having our good times like we used to. We are coined the modern day Thelma and Louise, minus the ending of that movie though. So I say, I miss our good times, what's going on with you. And so after she explained everything to me, I myself was not educated when it comes to organ transplantation. And I found that to be the case with a lot of the minority multicultural races. So I admit education is key. So once I'm to ask her, am I able to get tested because I'm not a blood relative? She said, absolutely. So she gave me all of the information. And when I tell you, Bella, from there, it just, all the puzzle pieces started falling in place. So it just lined up and I just went from step to step to step. It was by no means easy. We ran into a lot of obstacles and hurdles, but I just knew that God gave me 2 kidneys, and for it to be placed into my view that I can survive with just 1 kidney, Kimberly deserved that. I would do it again if I could. I have absolutely 0 regrets, because to save someone's life or give them the gift of life or a chance for a better quality of life is amazing. And you just need to realize if you were in that situation, you would want someone to donate to you as well. So it really was a no-brainer. And Kimberly also gave me a gift. We cannot leave that discounted, because without Kimberly, I wouldn't be where I am today with being an advocate for organ donation.
Wow. Yeah. That is, I know for anyone, like one of the greatest things that I do feel it is the greatest gift you can give to a person. And was there apprehension with regard, because I know unfortunately you said you lost your parents, and that in itself is just such an intense thing to have to go through, especially again in close proximity. But your other family, were they concerned about you putting yourself in a position to, do that and risk your own life? Did they have some concern about that?
Actually, no, because I spoke with them, and it was fortunate enough they had the pleasure of meeting Kimberly. So she was not a stranger to them at all, and they were fond of her. And I just laid it out that, okay, sissies, we are healthy because I'm giving a kidney to a sister from another mother. So I won't have another one to you guys. So very supportive.
Great, good, good. And so, Kim, tell me, your disease is one that I am not as familiar with. I actually started trying to do a little research on it. That's one that I had not heard before. Can you tell us a little bit about it? And was it genetic? And I know you shared about your apprehension about treatment, but what I didn't understand or get is, why did you say that was why was it, in your opinion, the worst mistake you ever made?
Well, the doctor warned me. He was like, if you don't do this, you will be very sick, very sick. And that was the absolute truth. When I tell you, I was sick. And that's why I say that that was the worst mistake I ever made. Let me tell you, there were times I thought I was not going to make it. So, yeah. So that's why I said, yeah, I definitely listen to the doctors. And as for the my diagnosis, the cause for that disease, like I said, is unknown. However, during my struggles, I knew of kidney failure, but I didn't knew how deep kidney failure ran in my family. So as I went through my ordeal with kidney failure, I started to learn a lot more about other family members that had kidney failure, and some that has gone on that has, died of the disease. So it is definitely genetics.
Okay. And they actually told you that it was a genetic disease. What does that particular disease, how does it, do you know, if you don't know, that's fine, how it, how it forms? For instance, mine is called FSGS, and it's a really long name. That's the short name. And it attacks the glomeruli, which then in turn destroys the kidney. Do you kind of know a little bit about it and how it went to, attack the kidneys?
So IgA nephropathy, it attacks let's see, the capillaries that are in the kidneys that filters, all the impurities out of your kidneys. So therefore my kidneys were unable to filter.
Okay. So they could, yeah, no filtering. How long was that going on before, like what stage? You obviously were in stage 4, because if dialysis was imminent, you must have been in, like, is that correct?
Yes, end stage. I was in end stage kidney failure.
Okay. Okay. Were you having any symptoms yourself that you noticed?
After the fact, in hindsight, yes. I had the swelling, the swelling of the feet. I had the high blood pressure. I had a severe anemia. So those were all the signs. And I don't think that, and looking back, I wasn't going to the bathroom a lot.
Okay. So you were experiencing some of these things, even actually before it got to the point where you had to see but you were ignoring them? Is that what? Tell me how you.
I was.
Oh,
Self-diagnosis.
wow.
Self-diagnosis.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Thank you for your honesty with that. And see, this is what we talk about. This is why, again, we have to be proactive in our health, and we have to make sure we're not ignoring, and I'm talking to my audience, that you're not ignoring things that could be going on. Anytime you're doing things that, or things are happening, excuse me, with your body that aren't normally happening, those are warning signs. Something is up,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, now any deviation, I know about it. Any little change, I notice.
Yeah. See, because you know what it's called? You're woke, girl.
Yes.
You are woke. You are woke. And by the
Yes.
way, what immunosuppressants are you on?
I'm on mycophenolic acid, prednisone, and tacrolimus.
Okay. Yep. Those are dual ones. And I take it, obviously, they've got you really good and regulated now with
Yeah.
those.
Oh, yes. And that took some time. That took some time.
Yeah. Were you experiencing any side effects in the beginning? And if
Absolutely.
so, share a little bit about what you were experiencing.
So my side effects was mainly with the CellCept, because they started me out on CellCept first, and CellCept just didn't agree with me. I had severe diarrhea with CellCept. That was the only one that I had an issue with.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And because I just knew you were going to say prednisone because I just knew.
Listen, prednisone in the beginning, before I started dialysis, I was on a high dose of prednisone. You know, like I said, I refused dialysis. I was like, no, put me on some type of medication regimen that's going to fix this. And I was on prednisone. You couldn't recognize who I was. I had blew up so my face, it was so big to the point my eyes was almost closed.
Wow. Yeah. That prednisone is a scary one. That gives you that moon. I refused it actually. And and that was okay. I don't tell people what to do, but my career just could not have allowed for me to have a swollen face. And I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do my job. You know what I mean? And so
you can't. You can't.
Yeah. Wow. So you were off work, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Trish.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, darling. So one thing in talking to potential donors who have asked me questions about donation, the fears they have, the myths and the misconceptions, and you and I, we deal with these things being volunteers for LifeLink. Tell us about your healing process, your recovery time. Did anything change with your body? Like, say something you may be dealing with that you did not deal with prior to being a donor. I can tell you, people have asked my godson this question because I've asked him, do people ask him that? He said, oh yeah, godmom, all the time. And when I had him on my show, which was the first show I actually did, he said that the only change with him was he urinated more than he used to. I guess, making up for the loss of the one kidney. So share that with us, for you, that journey.
I would say because each living donor, of course, go through different recoveries, and everybody's body heals. For myself, I would say the first 2 weeks were the rough part. And actually, Kimberly, when I saw her after the transplant, I'm like gagging because she's basically power walking and just cleaning and cooking, and I'm actually bent over. And before I go into more details, I wanted to have a pause with this because living donors and recipients, we need to recognize caregivers more. I just want to say, since we're bringing this up, I had a caregiver who is also one of my besties, a close dear friend of mine. And without her, my transplant would not have been possible. She relocated to Tampa with us for the month. So I want to say hello to Lorraine Gardner, if she's listening. Kimberly and I are both grateful to you still to this day, because without you, the transplant would not have taken place. So with that being said, Lorraine ushered me to Kimberly, and it's like once she got my kidney, she was like a superwoman. And he go within my 2 weeks, walking over like it's killing me. And so, but after you passed the 2 weeks, of course, everything improved, and you have to follow doctor orders, because if you don't, prone to have hernias, and you have to make sure you get enough water. Your water intake is important. Each transplant center advises a certain amount. Mine is half your body weight in water for ounces. And your godson, Brandon, is definitely, Brandon's his name, right?
Roger.
Okay. He's definitely correct when he say the bathroom become every living donor's friend, because our bladder expands. It thinks we still have 2 kidneys. Yeah. So we do spend a lot of time in the bathroom, and our hands and feet are cold a lot. And I must say there are no regrets, but we do have to watch our vitamin C intake, because that can be hard on one kidney and cause kidney stones. And I do miss a good NSAIDs. The ibuprofen and the Adleve. I was a big runner. I used to do a lot of running. So, and when I was a firefighter, ibuprofen and Advil were my best friend. But because you have to watch your NSAID intakes and pretty much avoid them if possible, that's the only 2 things I regret. And I recommend you can live a healthy life. We just had 22 living kidney donors from kidney donor athletes climb the highest mountain in Africa for World Kidney Day last month. So we are all still athletes. And they were featured on Good Morning America. So you can live a great, prosperous life with one kidney, and you also can donate a percentage or part of your lower lobe for liver. I know several living donors as well.
And that's the beauty of what God does. He gives us 2, but to give one if it's needed to someone. At least that's the way I look at it. And many people are born with only one kidney. So I agree with you in saying that, you do have to live a more careful life, of course, but your life is still your life. It's still a normal life. I was like, Trish, don't scare the people, not talking about how much pain he was in.
Well, I'm being honest.
No, I'm just kidding. I wanted you to be honest. Right.
Some people did not experience pain, but I did.
Exactly. And no, that was the same with my godson. There I was practically, almost inline skating down the lobby of the hospital within like 24 hours. Hey, and he was like, you already got my, and he was in some pain, but he said it wasn't long. Like you said, you got to think it's the incision, something's being removed from your body, which totally makes sense. Did I see a question from James, Jarrett? I thought he threw a question up there. I just wanted to make sure it got out there to the girls. Okay, I'd like to know if Kim had family to support her as she battled her kidney failure. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes, absolutely. And as you know, we had the transplant over in Tampa, and we live in Fort Lauderdale. So yes, and my mother did move over to Tampa with me and stayed the whole time. Yes, she was awesome. My caregiver. My daughters was there. My dad came over, had a couple of family friends to come over, so my family was very supportive. Yes.
That is so great. So very, very, very great. And you need that. See, and that's the key to good recovery too. You have to have a good support base. And I do feel for the people, not everybody has a big family that can support them like that. You know what I mean? So it's so important for those who don't have that, for people like us, especially who have been through this, as much as we can to try to help out the next person if possible,
Yes.
and as well as other people. When you know somebody and they're going through this, guys, don't hesitate. Even if it's taking them a meal, can I go to the store for you? Do you need a refill on meds? Every little thing you do counts, and it makes the world a
Absolutely.
difference. So we have to keep that in mind. So now this next question is actually going to be for both of you. Trish, I'll let you go first. Spons, do you guys feel that the transplant made your friendship stronger, and how did it do that? In what
Yes.
ways?
I would have to say so. Definitely, we're closer than we were before, if that's even possible. And to okay, I'm not going to get emotional. Let me keep it
That's
funny
okay.
here. But on
Girl,
a
stop.
lighter note, I'll let Kimberly get emotional. On a lighter note, we laugh now because she has picked up a lot of my traits. She did not have a sweet tooth before the transplant, and now
Wow.
she does. And just my little quirkiness that I do, some of the things, she's doing them now, and it's like hilarious. But even if I'm happy now that my gift of life has allowed her to be back in the work field safely, of course. We don't get to see or hear from each other because my schedule, my plate, as you know, Bella, is full, especially since the foundation. We can just pick up. We don't go over a week or two without communicating, but no matter what, I'm always there. We have a connection and a bond that we feel the energy of each other. She knows when something's wrong with me, and I know when something's wrong with her. So it's like a twin power that we have, if that's possible.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And they say, that's always been one of those little unspoken myths. And questions people have often asked, is it really true that there's a possibility that you can take on certain traits of your donor?
Mhm.
And that's either living or deceased. In fact, I know a gentleman who, a couple, different circumstances, but one that was really profound to me was about someone who, this wasn't kidney, it was heart, who didn't play piano prior to their transplant, but they played the piano beautifully, and the heart recipient was a piano player. So there you go.
Wow.
I love the idea of that. Not taking on a bad trait, right? But goodness, just look at the beauty in that. But go ahead, Kim. You go ahead and share.
Sorry, repeat the question again.
Yeah, that's okay. I was asking, do you feel that the transplant made your initial friendship stronger, and how did it do that, in your opinion? In what ways?
Oh, absolutely. Number one, for someone to offer you an organ in itself, that is selfless as you can get. Number one.
That's right.
So that definitely brought us closer. We were already close, but that brought us even closer. And even before the transplant, she knew if she called on me, I was there for her, and vice versa. We Bunny and Clyde. Thelma and Louise. That's us.
Thelma and Louise. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely strengthened our bond.
Yeah. And so, is that true? Have you taken on some Trish attributes over there? Like,
Absolutely.
the sweets?
Now,
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I wasn't a sweet tooth. I'll eat, some sweets or some candy, but that wasn't my thing all the time. Now, listen, sweets come in the house, Kim is eating them.
I
And
love it.
cupcakes are my favorite.
Okay. I know that's right. I know that's right. So I love that. I love that. And that's like a never-ending bond. And like you said, Trish, even though you guys don't get to communicate as often, that is a never-ending bond. And you know that you're there for each other. And yeah, guys, they were featured in the LifeLink calendar. Was it last year's calendar, Trish, or the year before? No, it was the year before because they didn't do one last year. 2020, because
Yes.
2021?
2020.
Right, because we didn't have one for 2021 because of the pandemic. I don't think they did a shoot.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So guys, that was definitely their theme. They were Thelma and Louise. It's the coolest thing. I should have had her hold it up, and I wish I had thought about it. But and I didn't even know that was their like theme. When I saw the photo, I was like, "This reminds me of Thelma and Louise." And Trish said that's exactly what it was mimicking by the wonderful photographer Barbara, and leaning up against a light powder blue Thunderbird. I think it was. It's just the coolest convertible, of course.
We have many adventures that we could write a book over, actually.
I bet you all do. I love that. So Trish, how has being a living donor changed and enhanced your life? The best things that came out of that, what were they?
You know what, Bella, to be honest, the best thing that came out of me becoming a living organ donor was not necessarily for me. It was for the community. And reason why I say that, because when I first became a living organ donor, it was not people that looked like me, not many African-American living donors, or of any color. As we know, African Americans are more likely to be on dialysis, but least likely to donate an organ or even signed up to become an organ donor when they're deceased. Yeah. So I got to thinking, why isn't it not more? So my mission after becoming a living donor was to definitely get the word out and change these statistics and the numbers and not be such a rare unicorn, and make it more known to see a Black unicorn, because Black unicorns are myths as it is. Right. So once that came across me, it was pretty much saddening to see the numbers, the statistics, from how we do how we do the volunteering. So I would want to say the biggest gift for myself was to become an advocate and get the word out. And as you know, that's what made me start my own personal foundation.
I was just getting ready to come into that. Yeah.
Yes. Because the statistics have to change. Okay. My foundation had been in the back of my head for a while, and Kimberly said, yes, you should do it. And then from having my weekly radio show, my sponsors, who's the largest African-American roofing company here, Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing, reached out and said, yes, you got to do this show. And yes, you should start a foundation. They believed in me. And I put it off for so long. And Bella, when I call him my little brother, Philip, from Second Chance, if he's out there listening.
Yes.
He pushed me. Hi, Philip. Hope he's feeling better. And so he pushed me and steered me and said, sis, you got to do this. So he connected me with Prophet foundation organization group that gets you started by the name of Beacon Foresight. And once I connected with them, the places, everything started lining, and I just took off of it. And what it does, as Bella said, Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. That's a mouthful, so it's easier to say MMDF. I started this. It's a 501c nonprofit organization to support, assist all races, multicultural races, and to help educate them and let them know that it's okay. And it's also to honor deceased as well, because donors do make miracles. So this, I say a prayer that it takes off well. We're newly founded as of December 15th. We founded it on our 5th year transplant date.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, wow. And I didn't want to cut you off. Were you finished telling about that?
Yes.
Did you want? Oh, okay. Yeah. First of all, I believe that when we're doing work for God, it's always going to take off. It may move a certain pace, but that's only because he's setting everything up. Just like he hooked you up with Philip, who is such a great person and so good about helping others. And I know I have been fervently praying for him. I want everybody to get the organ they need, but I just Philip's such a good person, and he does so much for the community, and what he does, and even what he does on the side, not only with the Second Chance, but the other things that he does. Yeah, he is amazing, and we all know that. Yeah, and correct. And so, and he's helped me in many ways and given me, great input on things. And so we need people like that. Each one teach one, and each one helps each other. This is what we do in this industry. And so that's why I really wanted you to share that about your organization, and for people to please support the Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation, DF. It's a great source. It's going to I really know that it's going to accomplish some great things with that, Trish.
Bella.
So absolutely. And
I should have mentioned, if they wanted to donate to the foundation to help the funds to educate and get the word out and do different presentations, they can find it through the Multicultural Facebook page, Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation, or they can just go through my Facebook page, and all donations, 100% goes to the mission. And the website is mmdffoundation.org, and it's all one word, mmdffoundation.org. Or just go, everyone knows how to get me through Facebook.
So remember, before we did this interview, I told you it's just going to flow. So you just wiped out my next question, because I was going to ask how can she ahead of the game. See, she ahead of the game. How can people help your cause? Okay, thank you. Check on that. That's a good thing. I want to take a look and see here if there were any more questions, Jared. So I see you, Erica Nikolic. What's up, girl? And she says, you guys are great. What a great besties you are. I'm just wanted to see some of these comments. I know you guys got people on here that are supporting you too. And great connection. I couldn't agree more, Erica.
Thanks, Erica.
Thanks, Erica.
You guys are an inspiration. Yeah. So
I see my goddaughter, which is Kimberly's oldest daughter, Mary.
Hey,
Bennett.
Mary. Thanks for joining. Oh, she sounds like my daughter. Uh-huh.
Oh, Mary.
Oh,
don't make me cry,
that's
Mary.
So sweet. I love it.
Thank you, Mary.
Well, so I was going to ask you, Kim, do you, as far as how you feel now, your overall feeling as in health, do you feel just as good as you did prior to getting sick, meaning your diagnosis, or better? And, and what may be slightly different, if there's any difference, if you understand my question.
I do. So my quality of life is definitely better. The day I got the transplant, let me tell you, when I woke up, I felt better. So
Wow.
there are, some struggles,
Yeah.
I know I won't ever be 100% as I was, when I was a healthy person, but I am definitely living a good quality of life. Sometimes, you get discouraged sometime, I don't feel like taking this medication today, but hey, the medication is what's keeping you here, along with God. He's first. He's
Come on.
definitely keeping me here. But um, it I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I
Mhm.
can't be more grateful, more thankful for Trish giving me a second chance at life. I mean, I feel great. I mean, yes, sometimes, I get tired sometimes,
Yeah,
but that's life. That's life. That's
exactly.
going to happen. But for the most part, I feel great.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
And
do. I really do.
yeah, yeah, and that's all a part of it, Kim. And just you said it right there, as far as even as recipients, even though we've received that gift and we're so much better than we were, you know, we will still have days. I call it where we need to. I call mine where I need to recharge. I
Mhm.
don't complain about it. Most of the time I don't tell anybody, even when I'm feeling that way. I just do what needs to be done. And I think you guys could hear me
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Yes.
before you guys brought out,
Yes.
sharing about when I have to take that hiatus. A lot of
Yeah.
times too, it's because my body just feels a little worn down, because I'm a super
Mhm.
active person, physically, mentally, the things I do out here. And I brought that to my nephrologist before, and he'll just swing around in that chair and look at me and be like, "Did you jump double dutch this week?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Did you do this week? Did you do that?" He said, "Okay, that's all. It's just normal." He said, "But you're doing all the right things, because our numbers, our labs are going to show everything. If we're overdoing something under, as far as our blood counts." So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that when we just really have to pay attention, and this is every recipient, when you are feeling like that, don't push too hard. At some point, you got to kind of pump the brakes,
Mhm.
and say, "Okay, you know, let me USA a little bit here and back that thing up." Because one thing, we we can't help everybody else out here if we torn and worn down. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I'm that person that's kind of the prayer person for my family, the prayer warrior, and even prayer will drain you. It took my spiritual mother to explain that to me and say, you got a reserve tank, right? God's got one for you. So when you feel that way, you call him out and ask him to fill you back up. So I just love the fact that your life has been enhanced. And on that note, what I want to ask you is, what is the best advice that you would give to someone who was recently diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, especially based upon some of the decisions that you made in the beginning of your diagnosis? Just share a little bit about how you would talk to someone if they came to you with something like that.
I would definitely tell someone who has been recently diagnosed to definitely, I always get a second opinion. I would definitely tell them to follow doctor's orders, um, register for the transplant list as soon as possible, and just don't try to keep it a secret and go through this alone. Share it. Share your story. Share, share, share. I can't tell you how important it is to share. I know, some people say, I don't want to tell people about, my medical history, but you learn a lot from others. You can learn from someone that has been through it or someone that knows someone else that have been through it. Let me tell you, when I started sharing my story, if I wouldn't have shared my story with Trish, how would she know I would need a kidney?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I was going through my struggles with, with getting on the organ donation list and just, going to, this large hospital that does, kidney transplants here in South Florida, and was not satisfied with the service that I received there. And, I shared that with other people, what I was going through. And I was talking to one of my clients that became a friend, and I was telling her about it because she was a nurse, and she told me, she said, I have my church member. I'm going to hook you up with her because she went through the same thing that you went through, and she can help you with what you're going through now. She referred me to that friend, and she told me, she was like, you don't have to accept that. She said, you don't have to accept that. Call your insurance company and
That's
see where
right.
else in Florida that you can go to. You don't have to go to that particular hospital. And
Mm.
I did exactly that. And when I did that, from that day I talked to her, I was on a mission. I signed up at Tampa General, I signed up at Shands, I signed up at Mayo, and I was just like, I'm gonna go and do the interview at all of them. But after I believe I went to Shands first, very nice, cordial, but I just didn't have that feeling like, this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Went to
Mm-hmm.
Tampa General, went to Tampa General. I was like, this is it. This is
Right.
it. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I would just say, do your research. Join
Yes.
join these groups on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, join. I wasn't a Facebooker. Trust me, I wasn't on social media at all.
Nope.
Join these groups, and you get to, everybody is sharing their story, sharing their experience, asking for advice. Hey, I'm new here, I'm going through this, did anybody go through this? I would say join the groups.
Mm.
Sharing is
Girl.
caring. Sharing
Yes.
is
Yes.
caring.
Yes. Yes. That was
Yes,
perfect, Kim. The sources are out here.
they
Nobody has
are.
to go through this alone, like you said. The resources are here. You've just got to be proactive and educate
Yes,
yourself in everything. And
absolutely.
when one door closes, another one will open. So if that door is shut, it's always another one. But you got to want
Always.
to put
Yes,
in the work. What does scripture say? To whom much is given, much is required. You know what I mean? So yeah,
absolutely.
God will meet us halfway if we just put in the
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Um, so Erica is asking, what are the names of the main support resource groups on Facebook? Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim. Go on. Go
There's
on.
a before and after transplant group. There is a that is the one just for recipients only. And they have, I can't remember the exact names. I'm just always just strolling through, just listening to other story. But that is a main one. If you just put in just research donor recipient, listen, endless amount of groups will pop up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, too, just to add to that, Uncle Jim Myers has quite a few groups that he started, as you said,
Mhm.
too, as well as many other sources. Kim, and you can also find these groups through hospitals.
Yes,
TGH, like you said, is the bomb. And I didn't even
yes.
get my
Absolutely.
transplant from TGH. I got my transplant, as you all know, in Chicago. And I give big ups to Northwestern Hospital where I got my transplant. They are amazing. But I just had my transplant there. I got to get up close and personal with TGH as the resources that I am involved in personally with them. You know, Transplant Board, PFAC, that's the Patient Advisory Council. I see what they're doing. I see the innovation. And it is like nothing that I've personally witnessed before, which is why they're number 3 in the nation. That means something. You know what I mean? Not to take away from anybody transplant center, but you need a transplant, you need to be getting hooked up on that list. Anybody with TGH.
Yes,
so you can talk to me about that.
I referred people there after I had my transplant, and they went there and had their transplant. I said, I'm telling you, it is worth you going to Tampa General. You may come out of the pocket, you know, it's going to cost, you know, because you're going to have to, you know, stay over there a few months. You're going to have to travel back and forth, but it is well worth it. It is worth it.
Even for the living donor side,
worth it. Yep. So last question. So Trish, someone comes to you, let's say, seeking advice on being a living donor for a loved one or a friend, and they are literally terrified. What advice do you give them? What do you say?
First off, I would just try to reassure them. I'm not going to force or try to make the decision for them. I would just share with them my story and explain to them and tell them that you can live with 2 organs. You can live without the 2 kidneys.
Right.
God gave us 2, and Lord knows we don't need them in heaven. He would want us to leave them here. And I always advise someone to just close their eyes, take a deep breath, put their self in the shoes of a person who could possibly need a kidney or a living donor donation. Either one. Just think about it, meditate on it. And would you want someone to give you a better quality of life, a second chance at life, improve your life for yourself or for a family member? I tell them, pause, open your eyes. What would your answer be? And I can tell you 99.9% the answer back to me is always, Trish, yes, I would want someone to do these things for me. And I say, I can assist you on your journey and also share information and guide you to many websites and anyone you may need to speak to for a professional medical perspective. But we need to do better. First of all, I also like to educate when I'm out for my foundation on getting your health together first, because we all know the 2 leading causes, the 2 leading risk factors for kidney disease are high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes. So if we can get some of our own health under control, we may not need kidneys or anything like that. So it starts with education. I cannot say that anymore. So, and I tell it in bad. You heard I was honest. My first 2 weeks were not nice. While Miss Kimberly is around here power walking and running marathons most, but it's all there. And like I said, not everyone have a rough 2 weeks, but I just tell them, just think about it. I don't try to force them into it. I just give them all the knowledge and answer any questions they need.
Perfect. And I'm going to attach one more word to educate, because we know we always say that. But how about we start even before it gets to that point with that P word, prevention? See, that's where we make our mistake. We don't take care of ourselves, you know, with the bad eating habits, you know, drinking the wrong things, not being physically active enough, too sedentary, you know, outside of maybe jobs or whatever, but not really exercising, you know, and not getting regular checkups. Because oftentimes, if we're getting regular checkups, usually, and you're saying, yeah, I want to get a complete blood workup. You don't have to wait for the doctor to tell you okay, well, this is what we're going to do. That's fine. But you can say, I want a complete blood workup. And specifically with regard to kidneys issues, you have to specifically say, I want a complete renal panel.
Yes.
That's going to definitely show if you're having any kidney issues at all. But that's not something that's included in a regular physical. So again, you've got to be proactive in being specific, and it's your life. You only get one. So people can't be afraid to, speak up to the doctor or allow that doctor to be intimidating to you. You're paying him. He ain't paying you. So you need to look out for your health. And maybe, God forbid, if something is going on, it can be caught in that very early stage. That's all I'm saying. Or prevent it in its entirety. Oh my God. So ladies, you are amazing. We are only 7 minutes past the hour, but you know me, I could talk to you all forever, but I want to be respectful of the show. And I just want to thank you both. Kim, I really thank you because I know this was your first time being on social media.
She did amazing.
Out. Girl, please, you need to quit it. I think she's lying to us.
Killed it.
I think
she's
been doing this before.
Kimberly, both of the girls joined too. Anthony
I see.
as well. So yes.
That's what I'm saying. Girl, please, you better get on out here and keep sharing your story. But what I always do is I always pray for God to put a scripture on my heart for my guests. Now, normally my guest is just, usually one guest, but this is a donate story, so it's two. So I had to think about two scriptures, and one has always been one of my favorite, which comes from John 15:13. Greater love has no one than someone who would lay down her life. Of course, it says his life in the Bible, but we're talking about Miss Trish. Lay down her life for a friend. And then I love Proverbs 18:24, which says, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That is you, girlfriend. And I thank you for Kim, for what you've done, for what you do out here, Trish. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for everything that you're going to do with the multicultural organization, Kim. Trish, I know it's going to take off. Whatever I can do to help you, don't hesitate to ask me, because I'm there for you, girl.
Thank you.
Kim, I love you. I love you guys. And thank you so much for being a part of Bella's Hope for Healing.
Thanks for having us, Bella.
Okay. All right. You guys happening, okay? Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was such a touching story, guys. I mean, it is just, a minister that I heard doing preaching once said, hey, thanks, Erica. Thank you so much for joining, as well as all my other guests. He said, consider yourself blessed if you acquire two confidants in your lifetime. And that spoke leaps and bounds to my heart, which pretty much means good friends are hard to find, okay? And God calls us to be that friend. He calls us to love others with his love, his spiritual love, his agape love. And if we, as it was said earlier, Tricia, if you can't spread that love and give it to somebody else, but take it, come on, y'all. No. We got to do better than that. We got to do better. So I just want to thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope it touched your heart the way that it touched mine. Thanks to everyone for your comments. And please, again, don't forget to share this show because it's recorded afterwards. So if you missed any part of it, if you came in late, it's okay. You can come on back in. Yeah, don't be stingy. Like the show. Also, my YouTube channel will be fully functional by the next show. And so thank you guys also for the inbox messages. I meant to say that in the beginning. Just checking on me, wondering why wasn't I doing any shows. I appreciate that. But I'm working on some more things, and I'm feeling great and inspired, and just knowing God's love is surrounding us all. So I want you all to be careful, still be careful. COVID is still around. So don't get too excited. I know we all want to get back to normal. I do too, but be selective in knowing where you should, when you should, and should not have that mask on. Okay. So have a great evening. I love you. Nothing you can do about it, but more importantly, Jesus loves you first. Have a great evening and have a good week. Bye-bye.